What's going on, YouTube? It's the Bushy Beard, and I'm back, and I'm bushier than ever. And right now, we got a video for y'all: the top 10 expert reactions to the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. As you know, I'm a lawyer, and I'm actually interested in this trial. I've been watching live streams of it, but I watch legal channels live streams, Legal Bites and Ricada Law. If you haven't checked them out, please do. They are fantastic law channels that are watching it live and talking about it. And they also have other lawyers that come in. It's a great time over there. So check that out. If you haven't, I am excited to do this because, anyways, I want to do a law channel eventually, but right now I'm focused on this one. This is also sponsored by the coldest water bottle. Yeah, it's the best it's the best water bottle there is. It's getting that time, y'all. The weather's getting warm, not even warm, blazing hot here in Florida. Like, I walk out and I start pouring sweat. And trust me when I say it, when you need to reach for cold water, there's nothing like having a coldest water bottle around with you. Please do yourself a favor. This is the best water bottle you can get. It absolutely beats the Hydro Flask in every category that was tested in freaking reviews. If you haven't seen freaking reviews, check that out. It is really fantastic. It keeps things colder longer, and it keeps things warmer longer. So if you want coffee, they got small coffee cups. You can use that, or you can use these to carry around your coffee for the day. Trust me, if you use the link down below, put in the keyword, the code word HOT for 10% off, and I get a little bit of kickback. You do not want to miss out. These are the best water bottles. Anyways, enough of that. Let's get into this. I also saw Legal Eagle on this, and you guys, I used to like Legal Eagle. Not so much anymore.
I think it's going to be very hard for the jury here to make sense of that.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down.
And I'll give you my legal expertise as we go through this.
On our picks for the top 10 expert reactions to the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial.
Within the context that we are hearing it, without the context she's giving us, it sounds like she's the aggressor.
Also, let me know down in the comments, are you team Heard or are you team Depp? As I sit here and watch this trial, I think both are not very nice people, especially to each other. But I do not believe Johnny Depp ever hit her. From what has been presented thus far, I do not believe that. I could be wrong. Obviously, we don't know everything that ever happened between the two. But they have not been able to produce any evidence that shows that Amber Heard was hit or assaulted in any way. It's a touchy subject, but I think I'm Team Depp on this one, just based on the facts. I don't really particularly care for Johnny Depp's acting or anything like that. Just based on the trial, I think Depp is going to win. I don't know if he'll win his lawsuit, but he'll win the public opinion, I believe.
And there's really no way around that.
For this list, we're looking at what doctors, attorneys, and other professionals have analyzed from Depp v. Heard. This naturally excludes any experts who have testified in the trial. Which experts have you been following during the trial?
There's this one psychiatrist, I don't remember his name, but he looked like Doc Brown off of Back to the Future. Terrible.
Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Krista Hagai Ramey, the co-founder of the LA-based firm Ramey Law. This lawyer practices in areas such as personal injury and protecting children who've been mistreated at school. Speaking with Insider, Ramey argued that Heard went rogue on the stand when she brought up Kate Moss, seemingly alluding to an unproven rumor that Depp pushed the model down the stairs in the 90s. Ramey
also, that was just debunked because they put Kate Moss on the stand. This came out like a couple weeks ago, like 6 days ago. And so they put Kate Moss on the stand, I think today, and she denied it.
He theorized that Heard's, quote, attorneys did not want her to say that. Based on her experiences, Ramey noted that trauma victims often remember things in fragments, whereas Heard's testimony has been more detailed.
There's a lot of narrative in her responses, and that is what I am struggling with.
Discussing Depp, Ramey said his smirking throughout the trial would make her cringe if he was her client.
And he has been doing this quite a bit during Amber Heard's testimony.
She also suggested that Depp lose the colored glasses, calling them, quote, distracting.
I think they're distracting, and although it is part of his image, I don't think it works here.
I disagree to an extent, only because he did talk about never wanting to look her in the eyes again, and I think it plays to that. I don't think it's necessarily distracting.
Number 9, Jerry Crotty. A former law enforcement officer, Jerry Crotty now serves as a computer voice stress analyzer. Watching Depp's testimony regarding a bottle and his missing finger, Crotty didn't detect any stress in the actor's voice other than when he said, quote, shattered everywhere.
No stress associated with anything he's saying until he gets to the part where he talks about how it had shattered everywhere, and then all of a sudden there's this extreme amount of stress.
Analyzing another clip where Heard gave a conflicting account about the finger incident, Crotty noticed a lot of stress in her statement. Crotty speculated that Heard was mixing a little bit of the truth with embellishments and things she made up.
There's a lot of stress in that statement that she's probably sprinkling in a little bit of the truth, and she's also embellishing it.
Between the two accounts, Crotty believes that Depp is telling the truth about what happened to his finger. However, Crotty detected more stress in Depp's testimony when he denied abusing Heard, especially when he used the words, quote, striking and, quote, struck.
Both of those words caused a lot of stress.
Number 8, Mitra Ahorian. Mitra Ahorian is the founder of an entertainment law firm representing actors, directors, and others in the industry. Following the trial closely, Ahorian told Variety, quote, this lawsuit was brought for Johnny to win the court of public opinion.
That's all it was. I don't think he thinks he's going to win the $50 million, but he just wants his career back.
But she doesn't believe either side is going to win. Nevertheless, Ahorian told The Guardian that Depp is, quote, definitely winning in the court of public opinion, even if some of the clips being shared don't paint him in the most positive light. Talking with The Independent, Ahorian said that Depp, quote, did really great as a witness. Regarding Heard, Ahorian said that, quote, she has a greater chance of winning if she can show that the statements she made were true. But no.
I mean, that's the absolute most obvious state. You know, I think we'll win if we score more touchdowns than the other team. Yeah, of course, if she can show that her statements were true, that is a winning argument for defamation.
Noted that proving malicious intent is difficult. Number 7, Dr. Darcy Sterling. You might know this clinical social worker from the E! Network's Famously Single. Concerning Depp v. Heard, Sterling has mainly focused on the claims of, quote, mutual abuse, a term that some professionals believe is a myth in the realm of domestic violence. Sterling explained to Entertainment Weekly that when a victim acts in self-defense against a partner, it's not, quote, mutual abuse. However, Sterling added that, quote, abuse is not always perpetrated exclusively by one partner. Throughout her 27 years as a relationship therapist, Sterling often sees problems on both sides. With Depp and Heard, Sterling says, quote, both partners were egregious in their behaviors.
100%.
And neither seems to realize their culpability. Sterling believes Depp is more likely to win since he's a, quote, white, straight, wealthy male. Number 6, Lieutenant
Discount everything she just said.
Robert Schaeffer. This Loveland Police Department lieutenant has worked in the field of linguistic statement analysis since 1998. Listening to Heard reflect on an alleged incident involving a bottle, Schaeffer noted that the Aquaman actress seemingly has a tendency to, quote, abandon information that wouldn't serve her well.
Abandon information, which means she'll start a thought and then not finish it and then begin a second thought.
With this testimony, Schaeffer felt Heard was attempting to, quote, mislead the listener. That doesn't mean this event didn't actually occur, but Schaeffer believes it happened differently than the way Heard described it. Analyzing Depp's account of his lost finger, Schaeffer deduced that he was being, quote, generally truthful, with some, quote, sensationalizing.
You had the impression there was a little bit of he sensationalized.
He was more critical of Heard's testimonies based on her word choice and use of present tense. Yet Schaeffer thinks Depp lied about having no substance issues on film sets.
I think he's lying. Yeah. They might disagree with me.
Number 5, Dr. Jill Huntley Taylor. Upon completing her PhD in social psychology, this legal analyst went on to launch Taylor Trial Consulting, sharing her thoughts on the trial with Entertainment Weekly. Taylor believes that Heard could benefit from the Me Too movement, although Depp was also, quote, making his own Me Too claim. In an insider piece, Taylor noted that Heard was taking a, quote, riskier approach with such extreme claims. If the jurors believe Heard, Taylor thinks they'll seek to, quote, award her and punish Depp. If they don't buy Heard's testimonies, though, the jurors, quote, will punish her. In Taylor's eyes, quote, credibility and, quote, evidence will be the deciding factors. Taylor has also analyzed the potential messages behind wardrobe choices, sensing that Heard was trolling Depp by replicating his bee attire.
Yeah, I mean, I guess trolling is the best way to put it.
Number 4, Dr. Zev Ezra Cohen. The director at Principium Psychiatry, Dr. Cohen specializes in analyzing psychological trauma. With accusations on both sides of Depp v. Heard, Cohen gave his thoughts on the mutual mistreatment debate. Cohen believes, quote, a relationship can be mutually abusive, although the situation is difficult to untangle. According to Cohen, the more powerful person in a relationship isn't always the perpetrator. Just because someone is physically stronger and wealthier doesn't necessarily mean they're without vulnerabilities. Cohen feels that Depp has come across sympathetically to the jurors, although his, quote, enormously privileged life may work against him. Cohen isn't sure what the verdict will be, but thus far, he thinks Depp has successfully conveyed the toxicity of the relationship and possibly proven Heard's claims false. Number 3, Dr. Louise Mahler. A body language and voice expert, Dr. Louise Mahler studied the behavior of both actors on the stand. Since both are actors, though, Mahler noted that we may never know the whole truth. That said, Mahler said Heard lacks credibility for several reasons.
A lot of Heard's emotion, I won't say a lot. The parts that I saw, I didn't see her whole testimony, but the parts that I saw of her emotions seemed staged almost, or faked, or played. I didn't buy it.
In addition to questioning Heard's unusually specific recollections, Mahler argued that her breathing came off as manufactured and that her apparent tears were part of a calculated strategy.
It is a calculated strategy. Her high breath is trying to bring her to tears.
That doesn't mean the relationship was without violence, but Mahler suspects that Heard is exaggerating events.
Not that I'm saying that there hasn't been violence, but it's all been escalated to a ridiculous extent.
Whereas Heard came off as inconsistent, Mahler says that Depp has gotten his character down with a simple and slow delivery. Depp's consistency has built his credibility. To an extent, though, Mahler suspects both have chosen an act.
And Johnny Depp has chosen a simpler act. So his act is just consistency and slow.
Number 2, Janine Driver.
I mean, every person who gets on a stand has a different type of persona, especially if in a case like this, you have to be sympathetic. You'd be surprised the difference between somebody's deposition testimony and how they present on the stand. It's completely different. In the OJ trial, they dressed him up to be, like, prior to the trial, or prior to his being arrested for or accused of all of this stuff, he said he transcended race. And then, you know, they changed his look a lot based off of what they thought that they could win, based off let me just say that the cop in it was completely racist. But yeah, no. It's court is a stage.
Communications expert and best-selling author Janine Driver believes there are signs of deception in Heard's testimony. Driver cited Heard's use of present tense over past tense and the way she dropped pronouns when she accused Depp of hitting her.
She drops the pronoun, and when people are being deceptive, Vinny, people will have a change in pronouns.
Driver thinks Depp's testimony is reliable, finding his speech and body language consistent with past interviews. Driver believes some of Heard's statements, but she's confident that Depp wasn't the aggressor in this toxic relationship.
She is lying through her teeth, in my expert opinion.
Similarly, another leading body language expert, Susan Constantine, noted signs of trauma in Depp's testimony and argued that Heard has been overperforming on the stand.
So I'm really getting a very strong grasp on his past traumas moving forward, and the behavior that he's acting out is directly linked to trauma.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are some honorable mentions. Judah Engelmeyer.
Also, this guy that they continue to show, he's a magician. His name's Spidey. Check him out soon.
Unveil our top pick. Here are some honorable mentions. Judah Engelmeyer. The Herald PR founder believes Depp is showing studios that he can win audiences over. Amber Melville Brown. The Withers law specialist thought the week off would allow Heard's testimony to sink in. Bedros Spidey Akelian. The Mentalist has put their body language under a microscope.
The second reason this happens is shared grief or seeking pity, which is more or less the same thing.
Ruth Glenn. Whatever the verdict, the NCADV president and CEO doesn't believe in, quote, mutual abuse. John Katz. Quote, I want a verdict against both of them, the attorney says. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel.
I swear, if Legal Eagle is number one, please don't be. Please don't be.
And ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1.
No! I used to like Legal Eagle a lot when he was doing just like TV reactions to different law TV shows and stuff like that. And I haven't followed him at all based on this. I don't follow him anymore. He got way too political for me, and I just absolutely despised a lot of his takes because he was trying to come off as a professional lawyer, and that what he was saying was professional legal stuff, but was 100% his opinion. And I hate when people do that.
Devin Stone.
In England, the party accused of defamation has the burden of proving that their claim is, quote, substantially true. Now, that's the opposite in the US, where the defamed person has the burden of proving that the libelous statements are false.
Analyzing the trial from a legal standpoint on his channel Legal Eagle, lawyer Devin Stone focused on the burden of proof in the case. In 2020, Johnny Depp lost a defamation lawsuit in England against Newsgroup newspapers for libel, which he initiated in response to The Sun labeling him a, quote, wife-beater.
In his November 2020 opinion, Justice Andrew Niccol concluded that The Sun had met its burden of proof and that The Sun's allegations that Depp engaged in unprovoked attacks and violent conduct against his then-wife that caused her to be in fear for her life were true, quote, on the balance of the probabilities.
As Stone explains, in the UK, the defendant just has to prove that their claim is, quote, substantially true. In the US, the burden is much higher, requiring Depp to prove that Heard's allegations are false and made with malice. New evidence has come,
which is only the standard for public figures. Don't get that mixed up. And regular, if like somebody were to defame me, you could argue whether or not I'm a public figure. But if somebody were to defame me, it would be you just have to prove that they were false. What they were saying was false. Whereas if I was a public figure, you have to prove that it was false and that they had actual malice behind it.
Come to light since the
which is very tough
UK trial, but Stone noted that Depp faced a very steep uphill battle.
And that takes us to the good old US of A, because what makes Depp's defeat so notable is that the odds of prevailing on a libel claim are much higher in England than in the US.
Do you agree with our picks?
No! Legal Eagle should not be on there. Ricada Law and Legal Bite should be on there. Anyways, if you like this video, please hit that thumbs up. If not, you can hit the thumbs down. It doesn't hurt me. Or you can hit the thumbs up because it won't hurt you. If you're new or you haven't yet, please do consider subscribing. It really does help out the channel. We're almost at 50,000. I don't think we're at 50,000 yet, but we might be actually. It's been a while since I checked. This is subscribe accounts. We are close, but not there. We're about 1,700 away. So If you could subscribe, that'd be great. Also, don't forget, coldest water bottle link is in the description. Use the code word HOT for 10% off, and I get a little bit back from that. Anyways, I hope each and every one of y'all have an absolutely fantastic day. And as always, until next time, YouTube, smile like you mean it from the Bushy Beard.